Former U.S. President Donald Trump is preparing to surrender to prosecutors in New York later today as he faces an unprecedented court appearance. Trump is the first sitting or former U.S. president to face criminal prosecution. Tuesday will see his arraignment on charges linked to alleged hush money payments to adult film actor Stormy Daniels just before the 2016 presidential election.
The former reality TV star turned president is the biggest story in town again. Arriving at Trump Tower, Donald Trump headed quickly inside for more talks with his legal team. His supporters rallied loudly nearby, while others demanded justice.
Indicting him on a hooker's payment 10 years ago or 7 years ago is a misdemeanor, and it should not be a felony case by Alvin Bragg.
I don't think they have anything to lock him up for. I think this is just the political persecution of somebody that they don't like. And on top of that, I think it's election interference.
I think the country is very divided at this point, so I think it's important that we understand that this is not about sides, it's about justice.
A criminal case against Trump would be unlike anything the US has ever experienced. On Tuesday, he is expected to surrender himself at the district attorney's office before being arraigned at the criminal court, where the charges will be read to him. Authorities are bracing for protests.
As always, we will not allow violence or vandalism of any kind, and if one is caught participating in any act of violence, they will be arrested and held accountable, no matter who you are.
While Trump was the focus of attention in New York City, President Joe Biden was visiting a factory in Minnesota. He has consistently refused to comment on the charges against Trump, and Monday was no exception.
I'm never more optimistic about the future of our country. Just remember, it's just important to remember who we are. We're the United States of America. There is nothing beyond our capacity.
Trump has vowed to continue with his 2024 presidential bid come what may, and this case has even seen a surge in his support among Republicans. But opinion in the country remains deeply divided, with more Americans than not saying he should face charges over the Stormy Daniels case.
Well, for more on this, let's talk to Scott Lucas. He's a professor of U.S. politics at University College Dublin and joins us from Birmingham in the UK. Scott, Donald Trump is the first sitting or former U.S. president to face criminal prosecution. How significant is this moment in U.S. political history?
Well, you've just mentioned the immediate significance, and that is we have never had a former president in this situation. We've never had a former president who is running to get back into the White House in this situation. But as significant as this is, and sticking to the facts of the case, we are expecting felony charges. U.S. outlets are reporting at least 24, more than 30. But this is a very serious case, not just for Mr. Trump's future, but for that of the U.S. legal and political system. And by that I mean you have two narratives which are running here. You have the narrative which says the legal system must be allowed to do its work, whether that finishes up in the acquittal or conviction of Donald Trump. There should be no political interference. And the other narrative is precisely that type of gaslighting from Donald Trump and his allies, who will not deal with the facts of the case, who will not uphold the legal process, but instead will try to undermine it by blaming the district attorney, by blaming the judge, by blaming prosecutors, the grand jury who indicted Mr. Trump. In other words, you either support the legal system here or you support Donald Trump. There is no in between.
How could this affect Donald Trump's chances of being reelected in 2024?
I mean, I know that's a big question, both U.S. and worldwide, but I'd start off with this. And that is, as an analyst, I think you have to begin with the idea that whatever you assess is going to happen in the campaign, you must keep it distinct from this case in the legal process. Once you start political speculation, you open up yourself to political manipulation for example, the argument of Trump and his supporters, which is, if you put me on trial, I will win in 2024, so you should think about doing that. We can talk about the fact that we still have almost a year before the first Republican primary is being held. We can talk about the fact that that will be a fairly crowded field, including Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, former Vice President Mike Pence, former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley. And of course, we have a general election, but that's 20 months away. That's going to be a very long and twisted course. Stick with the legal case first, see where that goes, keep it distinct from the campaign.
There are more cases in the works against Trump, more legal cases. Can we expect to see more indictments before the election?
It's certainly possible. So let me give you a tick list of where we are. First of all, we've not only had indictments, we've had convictions of the Trump Organization and one of its leading officials, its chief financial officer, in cases a few months ago, both in civil and criminal prosecutions over business malpractice. In addition to this case, which may not just be about the payoff to Stormy Daniels, but also about further business and tax malpractice, we've got the Justice Department's investigation of the events that led up to the Capitol attack, including Donald Trump's election denial. We have a Georgia grand jury that's considering specific charges of election interference by Trump and his allies, which could carry felony charges. And we've also got the Justice Department's investigation of Trump taking documents, top secret documents from the White House to his Florida home, and then allegedly covering up that purported theft.
So much more to come on this story. Professor Scott Lucas from University College Dublin joining us from Birmingham in the UK. Thank you so much.
Thank you.